This is the Door Knocker Podcast, where we dive into the explosive growth of the sales industry. We take an in-depth look with the industry's top talent to uncover what has made them successful as salespeople, leaders, and entrepreneurs. We believe all of life's opportunities are just behind the next door. With that being said, opportunities knocking. I'm your host, Zach Ross. So I'm super pumped today. I finally have the kid on. We've been going back and forth ever since I started the podcast. He's actually been super supportive. We're both from Vegas, but we haven't met each other till today. Mikey, it's really good to have you on, man. How are you doing? How's it going?
Great, thank you. It's good to finally meet you.
Yeah.
I told you that you're better looking in person than you are on the internet. Usually it's the other way around.
Nobody's gonna believe that because everybody says I have a face for radio. So everybody says I'm based. They just love jabbing. I appreciate it, man. Same to you. Yeah, it's been cool. We've been talking on the internet for a while, back and forth. So and I've been kind of getting to know you then, but it's good to get to know you more now. Way better in person. I love how, I was thinking about this the other day. They say that, like, if you're going to be on the internet, if you're going to be a personality, you have to go like extreme. I think it might've been Brad Lee who said it. You have to go to like the extreme, right? So if you're normally like a normal guy, you got to act kind of out of pocket, which I think you've been growing that I don't know if you know that you're doing that or not, but you kind of like, you're a little bit extra on the internet, which I appreciate because that's how you get more followers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a little bit different than the Mikey that I'm meeting right now.
Yeah.
So listen, this is a Door Knocker podcast, but you're from Vegas. Where'd you grow up at? Kind of stuff like that. Like, where are you from?
Yeah. So, good family growing up, Northwest here. Went to born and raised just here in, small town outside of Vegas. Like everyone asks, like, yeah, are you born? What casino do you live in? It's like, no, we're basically technically born in the country of what Vegas was at the time. Our backyard, there was nothing after that for, in 1992.
Yeah.
But yeah, just born and raised here. My family's from, San Diego. My mom's family's from New York.
Okay.
Great parents. And, it's been honestly an awesome journey, just learning from my mom and my dad, learning what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
Still alive today, still doing well. And, here I am.
Yeah. Your dad still lives here? You said he's coming back in today. Does he still live here?
He lives in North Carolina now.
Oh, he does. Where in North Carolina?
He's in, I think he's like Wilmington, I think is what it is.
Or really?
Or something like that. Yeah.
Bro, Wilmington after the storm, dog. My buddy moved his whole roofing company out there, dude, and he just stays there now.
And I've got a client there. They're killing it.
Bro. He's got like a $3 million church roof. He's like a slate church roof he's working on right now. Yeah, he's been working on it for 2.5 years. Yeah, they're suing the insurance company. I love the roofing game. We could talk about that more later.
I love roofs too.
It's way better than solar. Just my 2 cents.
I didn't understand. When I was doing the coaching between the two, right? I've done some dabbled in coaching pests, but I always tell them, I'm like, why aren't roofing guys selling solar? And why aren't solar guys selling roofing? Makes no sense. It's the same thing. But roofing to me personally is like, I went out for 3 or 4 weeks at a time and couldn't get somebody to tell me no on allowing me to do their roof. And I'm like, I'm like, wait a second, why are these guys only selling 5 or 6 deals a month? I'm like, I sold 5 or 6 in a day.
Literally.
I was like, what in the heck?
All you got to do is get them sign a contract. Hey, give me about 10 minutes, Mikey. I'm just going to go up on the roof real quick. I'm just going to do a little inspection. While I'm doing that, can you just go grab your insurance policy and bring that out? And then we'll kind of go over your deductible. Sounds good?
Oh, sure.
You see how it's $1,000 to get your roof replaced? Yeah. So all we're going to do is just coordinate all this for you. Can you just go ahead and sign here? And they're like, yeah, dude. Especially in the South, because you're not competing against anybody.
Yeah. And it's what they need because their insurance company does not want them to get the new roof. And then they want them to wait 5 or 10 years or whatever it is, and then gross negligence, and you don't get the roof. You're standing up for the client, right?
Oh, man. I miss it. So we were talking a little bit before. What got you into the door game? I know you went to, AMP Security first, but what kind of got you in the door game in the beginning?
I mean, ultimately, I was looking for a career, right? I was 20 years old. I had just gotten sober from, using synthetic heroin, Oxycontin.
Okay.
And, I was searching for a purpose and a meaning. I thought, you have to have something, the whole, you have to know what you're going to do about 16 when the people that come in suits to your high school with career week and you dress up in suits and blah, blah, you have to know. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, right? I was like, I want to be a firefighter. I wanted to have some sort of a meaning and a purpose. And I know that's kind of cliche, but I was being serious. Like I didn't want to live a life that wasn't like meaningful. I wanted to have something to do. And I actually ended up getting into restaurants, and I thought the restaurants were great because I was serving people. They were coming in having fine wine and steaks, and this was like, one dude like saved up his whole year to take his wife to a dinner, and I got to help them with that experience, and that was, to me, that was awesome. I got to be obsessive about steaks and cows and different foie gras and all this high end dining and wines in the new age and the new world and the old world. And I was sitting out on a patio at the Palazzo after a shift, and I'm like, man, like I don't want to be the guy that's 48 years old, 50 years old that is coming here and has to work holidays and all that type of stuff. And I was like, man, like what am I gonna do? Like I wanted the traditional family, I wanted all that type of stuff. I thought that was awesome, but I just was sitting out there looking out on the strip, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? And it just so happened that like a week later, somebody called me and was like, hey, do you want to come knock some doors and sell alarm systems? And I don't know, I forget what he said. It was probably like 150 grand in a year. So yeah, you make 150. I was like, well, I mean, that's cool. I'm down. I can down to travel and get out, and ended up working out. So I just got recruited into it. I wanted something that was going to give me the ability to not have to, miss my Christmas and miss my Easter and New Year's and Thanksgiving with my family. And I was like, maybe this is what it is. I didn't have anything to lose ultimately. I was like, what am I going to do?
Were you like living with your parents then, or?
Yeah. No, and I sucked. I was very bad.
Yeah.
My first like year, I was really bad. Now I ended up doing good for my standards.
Yeah.
Got to the point where I was selling a deal, sometimes 2 deals a day in the 6 days that I'd go out. But I was not like that the first, 2 months, 3 months. I like sucked. It was like one every other day. It was bad in alarms. I just wasn't good. I don't know. I didn't get behind the product. But yeah, and I was living at my parents' house. I ended up dropping out of school because I didn't have money. I was like, man, like I got to go get some money so I can pay for books. I ended up dropping out the second time because I didn't have gas to go to school. I'm working as much as I can, but then I'm, spending it all on drugs, actually.
Of course.
And I couldn't buy books, didn't have enough gas to get to school. Luckily, I had a little bit of a scholarship from Nevada.
Yep.
And
millennial scholarship or something.
Millennial scholarship, yeah. So yeah,
wow, powerful. I did the same thing. It's funny because my best friend owns a pretty prestigious roofing company, and he gave me the same opportunity when I was 23. And I literally was like, dude, that's dumb. Like, who would knock on somebody's door?
Yep.
And then I tell this to people that I recruit now, because I just recruited a kid who's 25 and his wife's 23, and they start Tuesday. And I'm like, I just told them my story. I'm like, listen, if I, not that I'm sad about it, because I think I'm exactly where I need to be in the moment, right? And I don't regret any decision I've made because it's all led up to where I am now.
Right.
However, if I would have taken the opportunity at 23, very much like you did, I would be in the industry 8 years now, and it would be a different situation, right?
Sure.
So let's just take the opportunity now, right? So I value people that get the opportunity young and they take it, because you can't really comprehend it then.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, it's like we were talking about. It's pretty incredible. So for AMP Security, was it a summer program? Like,
yep.
And where'd you go?
I was in Baltimore and then DC, and then we got recruited by another company. So I saw like the whole, like, come to us, we'll pay you $1 more an hour thing, like right away. And I was like, wait, what? I understood the deal. I got brought in as a warm body, and they were basically telling the owners that I was this like stud that they had recruited out of, West Coast. And I basically I was like, yep, nod and wave, boys, nod and wave. And they said I was some stud, and they had a couple other guys there, and they had like this it was like a 2,000 account contract, and they were going to get like it was like a $300,000 or $400,000 bonus, and they got portion of it once they sold a certain amount of jobs. And like I saw the whole deal, I was like, dude, these guys are making like really big business moves. Wow, this is awesome. A dealer program with AMP, and then ended up getting recruited by another company. And I was like, no, why? This makes no sense. The other company sucks. They're not doing very well. No, I didn't know at the time, but obviously, those guys over there did end up doing great. But the deal at AMP was a lot better than the deal at Vision. So we ended up getting recruited and moved down to Florida, and then got back to Vegas and started selling solar with Vision in Vegas at first.
Okay, so how many alarms did you sell the first year at AMPS in that summer?
63.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, I'm not.
I love it.
It wasn't 263. It wasn't 363. It was 63. Yeah.
I got a guy, Mike, who works with us, who hates anybody that sold 300 alarms in their first summer. So I'm going to he's going to love you. He says, I want to hear because dude, we've had some guys on, like we were talking about earlier, that, you sell 300 alarms your first summer, you're a god, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
I think if you sell 300 alarms right now, you're still a god, right? Like, in my opinion.
We still sell alarms. We just give them an alarm system though for free. So technically, I'll do my numbers. I'll get back to you. I'll tell you how many I've done.
Tight. So 63 the first summer, then you get recruited by Vision.
Yep.
And then you come back to Vegas.
Yep.
And what was that like? So was solar, that's 2014?
Yep.
So solar's it's a brand new product.
Yep.
There wasn't net metering yet.
Yeah, it opened up in 2014 in Vegas.
With SolarCity and all that stuff.
SolarCity, yeah. Yep. And that's when I moved back, I got in and I went to the schools. I went to the office down here actually. And I was like, all right, this is awesome. Like, tell me about what this is, right? And I brought it back to my dad, and I was like, Dad, this is what it is. He sat there in a presentation, and he's like, nope. And I was like, wait a second. And at the time, like, my dad was very important to make sure that I would get his approval in theory of my career moving forward.
Yeah.
And it's funny because my dad did not really approve of my career until about 2 years ago.
Wow.
When I finally sent him a bank account and a net worth statement of how I was richer than him today at 63 years old, than I was at 27. So until in that point, there was like you need to have an option B. You need to be a teacher, and I'm all for that. My other brother's a teacher, and he does great, and he loves his life.
Yeah,
that the happy factor there, he's happy, super happy. For me, it wasn't. I didn't want that. I needed to be rambunctious and jumping off of walls. But yeah, my dad did not want to do solar. I don't know if it was the company or for whatever. It wasn't the product. It was the company at the time, and I'm like, okay, like if my own family's not going to buy this, how can I go and sell it to somebody else if my own family's not going to buy us? At the time, I thought my dad was very smart with money. He's definitely very good with money, but not like the best of the best, right? So I was like, okay, like my dad's wrong. My dad's wrong. I'm like, my dad's wrong. Will powder it through, and then ended up just getting beat up by SolarCity a few times. And I'm like, okay, you can't beat them, join them. I ended up joining SolarCity. I actually didn't get hired for the first 2 times, and ended up just continuing to pursue.
What year was that?
2015.
Holy shit. So you did 1 year with Vision. Now, who was installing for Vision?
It's called It's Electric.
They're not even, they're gone.
Yeah, they're gone. Yeah.
I just like to know more history stuff that I don't know, right? It's cool.
Vision got bought out or merged with Ion Solar. They're Ion Solar now.
Oh, wow. How long ago was that?
I don't know. Go to their Instagram. They literally have. I thought it was the most confusing thing. I'm only saying that because I'm not saying. I mean, you can go.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, 100%. On their Instagram, it's Vision, and then they shut the company down. I'm like, dude, start a new one. Like, what are you guys doing?
That's funny.
I'm like, yeah, because I don't know.
You can literally tell by their posts. That's hilarious.
Well, no, because like they shut the company down for either bad something was going wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm like, their Instagram, they didn't even just start a new one. Like, this is, it's almost like, I don't know for sure, but it's like, to me, I'm like, this is fraud. Like,
this is fake.
Yeah, this is fake.
Love
Something's
that.
wrong.
I love that. Okay, so that's so crazy. A lot to take in, man. So SolarCity around 2015. This is before, and we can get in kind of that movement. So what was it like selling solar 2014, 2015?
Yeah.
In Vegas, what was that like?
So people, it's a lot like a new market. People understood that they didn't have an option. They understood that prices were going up. They were all about like the lease and the PPA. They were all about the lease and PPA. I sold only PPAs. I probably sold 2 leases in my entire life. I don't really like leasing. I like the PPAs. I like the option to be able to buy it and own it. So people were all about, locking in a rate, long-term rates, locked in rates and long-term savings. So it's basically we were just a power company that was just selling power. And we're like, hey, it was a new thing. And then, this was before even Elon was big. And I was like, Elon Musk, like everything, right? Like I've got I don't have a tattoo, but I was like, I got a tattoo of Elon Musk, right? Like it's basically what it was. Like I had Elon Musk on my shoulder kind of thing. And, they didn't really understand what that was at the time. But nowadays it's, it was, everybody obviously knows who Elon is now. But back then it was, we were just this revolutionizing, new product that really wasn't new, but it was new at the time. And, it was really scarce. It was a scarce program because there was only 235 megawatts was allowed to be net metered onto the grid. And once that was done, it was over. Now we applied for, that was 3.5%, I believe, of the market in Vegas, or rather Nevada. We applied for 6, hoping we were going to get like 4.5. Vivint had come in, and this was in like July 2015. Vivint had just moved in, got that office that they're still in right now. And within 2 weeks of that, they shut the whole program down. So we knew about it. And Vivint had just secured a long-term lease in this building they have over here on the 15th.
VSLR.
Yeah. Vivint Solar, yeah, VSLR. And it was like, dude, we just got shut down. And so everyone had to leave. And it was cool because at SolarCity, I didn't know this at the time, but I was in the number one office of what was at the time the number one company. And we just got like lavished with like awesome like training and coaching. I was like, dude, this is awesome. And then you go to another company, you're like, oh my God, I had it so much better at SolarCity. I didn't even realize. But when the market shut down, basically, then we moved to Texas. So selling solar in Vegas was, I'm not gonna say taking candy from a baby, but it was fairly easy. Even if people were like, well, it's not gonna work, like we sold 20 something thousand systems in a year and a half.
Wow, in Vegas.
In Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like 22,000 systems.
Are
in
you
Vegas.
serious?
Yeah, we had 52 crews doing an install and a half a day.
And how many people were in the Vegas office back then? How many reps?
So the door knocker, the direct side of it was probably close to 70 to 80
in Vegas.
Yeah. But our competition was inside sales. Like we would go and be knocking, and all of a sudden, boom, there's an install, and you're like, what the heck? Like I've been trying to get a hold of that person, knocked on the door, left my card tons of times, and then my competition was inside sales, and it would piss me off because it's like we didn't have competition. It was inside sales was our competition. It was bogus.
That's
like,
pretty insane.
Yeah, it was a problem. But you couldn't drive Monday to Friday. You couldn't drive 15 minutes and not see a SolarCity car or truck or box truck.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. So you a year and a half here. How many? Let's just say that first year with SolarCity. How many solar deals did you sell?
My first year, I don't actually know the exact number, but it was less than 50.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was less than 50.
Okay.
So I wasn't,
So we're just going to call it 50. Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it.
I assumed like with like alarms, you could sell 4 or 5 in a day, and I had done that. And when I sold 5 in one day and came back to the office, that was only one time I did that, right? But 5 in one day back then, it was like I was just God.
Yeah.
I'm like
5 in a day is a God. Now you're a God.
I thought that's like normal. Like the expectation we set for our people, our reps, and our managers is so low. It's like, yeah, if you just do 4 deals a month, you won't get fired. It's like, what do you mean? But if I did 15 deals a month, I can become financially free in 5 years. And basically every financial problem would be solved for the most part if you'd save your money, right, correctly.
I mean, with the commissions where they're at right now, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Even if you get paid $2,000 a job, still, if you sell 15 deals a month, you're still financially independent at that point. You might not be financially free, but you'll be secure or independent. So, yeah, SolarCity was an awesome, dude. It's an awesome play.
You're the first person. Well, I mean, we had Troy on. Troy had really nice things to say about SolarCity, but most people trash it. So I'm glad that you I'm glad that because I know then we'll get into all that. So first year, and then 2016, Vegas gets shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There was that huge drought.
Yep.
And then you guys all went to Texas.
Yep.
Okay. And then where in Texas did you go?
We were in Dallas.
In Dallas. And then, so what was that like? So let me just back up before I go to that. So you're at this point, 3 years in roughly,
yep.
Right? And you're like 24, 25 years old.
Yep.
Have you what is you had really great training and coaching.
Yeah.
And you had probably some great door guys around you.
Yep.
So and you're coming out of this, you're the drug addiction and you're trying to find yourself and you don't have much support from your family and, et cetera. And so what was that like for you? And then kind of like, did you have like a morning routine? Did you have like a night routine? Anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't get very much. I mean, my mom supported me, but she would have supported me doing anything. So that was one thing I did hold on. So my big like motivators at the time was 2 specific things. One was, I wanted to retire my mom. And everyone's always talked about that. You're like, oh, like, I'm going to retire my mom, pay off my mom's house. Like I was convinced that it was my obligation to help my mom financially, because that's what my dad did when they broke up in 2009. I was like, okay, now this is me now. How do I figure this out? And that's why I got into door-to-door, because I was like, I can't do this with making 60 grand busting tables or 100 grand, waiting tables on the strip. I had to figure out something else to do. My big motivators was helping my mom, showing my sister that there's men like me out here that she can strive to look for. I wanted to have that, that father figure example, if you will, to my sister. So like I'd go out there and work every single day, but also come home and, be a good brother, good son, and stuff like that. And then the second one, which was the main one, which only worked for a couple of years, but the big motivator there was I wanted to prove to it's actually an ex-girlfriend from high school that her parents were wrong about me. So it was kind of funny because it lasted for a long enough time where they said that I was going to be just like, a drug addict basically. And I was like, I will show you that you guys, and in my head, the motivator was when they're like 60 years old, they're going to be like, they're going to see me on LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok or whatever they watch, right? See me on my YouTube page or whatever it is. And they're going to be like, man, we were wrong about Mikey. They're going to look at themselves one day. I'm telling you, they're going to look at themselves one day and be like, we were wrong about Mikey. And I just kept telling myself that, I will prove them wrong. I'll prove them wrong. I'll prove them wrong. And everybody did. I got cut from my senior year of baseball. They were wrong. I could have played pro. This girl, parents told her to break up with me. They're wrong. My dad, about me not being able to do, door to door and make a career out of it, wrong. I just wanted to prove people wrong for some reason. And that doesn't last very long, because then it's like, then you end up, almost like getting into a negative state, right? It ends up being bad. So then it was now it's just, it was combined with, back then I was like, I need to find something that's much, 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 much larger than me. And for me, that at the time was, I just became Christian at that time, like started going to church like regularly and stuff like that, and taking on faith for myself. And I wanted to help out churches overseas, women's shelters, drug rehabilitation centers, and orphanages. And I was like, dude, if we're going to do this, we need a lot of money, because we can actually support them somehow, some way, whatever that was. So that was like my big motivator, was helping like refugee centers and drug rehabilitation centers, and helping them basically with solar, which is what we've done already. Helping them with solar, putting solar on there for free, us putting it up there, maintaining it for the lifetime of the system. Even if we're not in there, we just will hire somebody locally and then help them alleviate that payment that they're paying to their power company, so they can put more resources in, hopefully into the facility. So that, I had to have something that was an instant, like, I will prove them wrong, that kept moving every single day. Like, if you quit now, they'll be right. If you don't go to the gym this morning, they'll be right. They'll be right, bro. You'll be just like they said you were going to be. Nobody couldn't do anything. You might as well go back to drugs, bro. You might as well just go back. They're right. Why you want to work so hard? Just quit. Go home. And that voice, dude, just kept coming back, dude. It just freaking haunted me. And then finally, I was like, bro, this is enough. I committed. I did the Tony Robbins burn the boats thing. I was like, I'm not leaving solar. Not. And then 2016 is when I actually left solar for like 9 months, because the solar, it was a God moment for me. And I was compelled to move back to Vegas. But guess what? There wasn't solar in Vegas. So I came out and I worked for which is a cool story, but I came out and worked for a guy named Mickey Griffin. It's a progressive real estate company. It's a real estate investment company, knocking on doors to help him improve his company. And I was like, dude, don't pay me unless I make you money. And so I went out and started knocking on doors, finding short sales and foreclosures, and learned the real estate game. Now I own a bunch of real estate properties because of what I learned from there.
Right.
It's the same thing at SolarCity. One of the best things I can tell you right now, one of the best things that I did at SolarCity, the reason why I liked SolarCity was because I was about their success. The guys are around me, Adam Harper, these guys, Cody Bastion, Isaac Burnside, those guys. I wanted their success. The John Frampton. I wanted John Frampton to be the top guy, and I was about their success. It was not even about me. I just wanted to basically survive. But I wanted them to be successful, and then one day, hopefully, they would notice me working very hard, and they would say, "Hey, Mikey, we want you in the room with us." And that's all I did. And I didn't care how long that was going to take. I would have done it for 3, 4, 5, 10 years. I would have just kept working and working and working, and I knew that eventually one day they would notice me.
You literally can't teach that. Lee and I talk about that shit all the time, dude, because we're just like, even guys that we've had on the podcast, yourself included, it's like, cool. Like, I'm just glad I get to be at the table with them, right? Dude, like, I'm just glad I
don't belong to be here.
No, I literally don't deserve it.
Nope.
And like, and I get like, and we were talking about competition earlier before the podcast, but like,
I've got goosebumps, yeah.
Really though, because you're like, oh, and you're like, oh, and you're like, you know what, man? I just want to be first of all, I just want to be at the table, right?
Yeah.
Because like you said, because what we try to train here, because we don't like recruit we've only recruited one guy within the door industry. I think we have like 30 plus reps as a company.
Yep.
And we literally don't recruit within the door industry because we don't want a wolf in the hen house.
Yeah.
We want to help create a new experience for you.
Yep.
Because you can't teach that. Listen, bro, if you come in here and you sit down and you take all the information in, right? And you apply it and you just don't quit, we will literally, as a team, and everyone gets paid fairly.
Yeah.
We don't pay our setters hourly, right? We don't do that. We don't, like, our closers everyone gets paid well.
Yeah.
And there's opportunity for growth, because then everyone will be able to come at the table, but you can't teach it, right?
Yeah.
So you being able to see that at 25 something years old, whether it's, divinely inspired or whatever, is just, it's cool to me to hear. Because I know a lot of guys that'll listen to this podcast that even work for us that'll just benefit so much from that, because that's been mine and Lee's whole thing is like, yeah, dude, like it's cool for me to be and that's, I think, even what our culture, what we've tried to build on our culture here is like, you go to a lot of alarm or solar companies where your guy, like, let's just say like, Mikey's the worst rep I got. I'm not going to give him any attention.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's like, you're not even working the hours when it's like, versus if I put you in the car with me or one of my top guys for a day and I set an appointment with you and I then go next day and close the deal and you get paid, your entire equilibrium is going to be different versus me just going and letting you sink. Which is crazy to me, but that's where I think the benefit with that mindset of level of servitude. What is my level of servitude at work? Because it's not just the homeowner, because I'm serving the homeowner. There's no question about it. Right. But I need to serve the people that I've brought. Because I've asked, bro, how many times have you asked a guy to quit a 70, 80 grand a year job and go, listen, come work here and I'll change your fucking life?
All the time.
Right. I owe you a service that's like, because once I've recruited you, the job's undone. It's so easy for me to talk you into the job. I could sell you on the job all day long because of what it's done for me.
Correct.
So I had a lot to take from that. So I appreciate that. So you come back to Vegas, you're knocking for this Mickey Griffin guy. And I love that. We could talk about that real estate thing later off camera, but I love the real estate game. I love that. And then you take that info, and then after that 9 months, what happens?
So the Vegas market opened back up, right? I burned the boats in 2015 when I moved to Texas. Like when I was in Texas, I was like, okay, the only way for me to move forward is for me to fully commit to solar. Then it was like, hey, you're moving back to Vegas. There is no solar. So I was like, this is very confusing. So anyways, then I got back, then I got here, and I was like, okay, work for Mickey, learn and get under it. Dude, I walked his dog. I did everything, bro. Anything and anything you needed. Never asked for $1 other than when I made an actual sale. Once that happened, Vegas opened back up. I was really skeptical. So then I started putting out feelers and saying, hey, look, like, solar's back, but I lost like 35 installs at the end of 2015 or whatever it was when they actually 2015 when it shut down. Because they said we were going to have till 2016 summer to install. We didn't. SolarCity was like, nope, we're done. I had 2 installs the day that they're on the roof and they pulled them off. They didn't luckily install anything yet, but they're on there and they pulled the guys off. So I was very skeptical to get back into solar at the time because I was like, maybe this is a sign. Like, it's hard to read signs, bro. Like it's almost like you read one bad sign and you're like, you end up pushing your I guess destiny, you could say, your purpose back like 4 or 5, 10 years, 15 years even sometimes. So it's hard to like read these signs and what that even means. Like, how do you have this like wherewithal to know what in the heck the world's going to be like in 5 years from now? We just thought I didn't even know if solar was for sure going to be around, to be completely honest with you. I was like, we could get shut down in 2 seconds. It's like Bitcoin. It's like, they're going to shut down Bitcoin. It's like, why would I invest my money in Bitcoin? It's like, but in reality, we all probably know it's going to be there, right? So I ended up getting recruited back in. So I ended up putting out some feelers. I talked to like Luke Toon and Doug at Legacy, Kelly Walker over at Solcius, and Brian Jackson. Then a couple other companies, smaller companies, right? Little dealers here and there. And ultimately what I wanted, what I understood, this is a very big thing for me, was if I won't trade shoes with you right now with where you're at in life, I won't follow you. But as soon as I follow you, oh, bro, I will make your life so much easier. Like, I will find out a way to find problems that you have in your life and I will solve them for you. And then you're not even going to ask me to do it. I'm just going to do it. It's just how I was raised. I don't know why. It's just, I guess it's not common anymore, but like, I was going to find out a way to make your life easier. And most people are just very unorganized. And when I got to that point, that's what I wanted. So I found out that Kelly Walker had signed like 3 real estate deals. So I was like, I'm not getting back in the solar, bro. There's more money in real estate. No, there's not more money in real estate, to be honest. There's more money as a real estate agent. There's more money in solar than there is in real estate. Period. Right. So Kelly was like, yeah, I just did, I heard you're in real estate. He said, yeah, I did 3 deals this year. And like, to me, he was like it started Pinnacle Alarms, it sold the Brinks and all that stuff. Right. And he just sold their company. So they ended up cashing out and they did really well. But he was like, yeah, I did 3 deals. And he was like, yeah. I was like, oh, this guy like is a loser. Like, he's an idiot. He just did 3 deals. Like, and then like, I don't know, 45 seconds later, he goes, yeah, like one was like 500 units. The other one was like 350 units. 200 units. I was like,
you're thinking 3 houses,
3 individual properties, bro. And I'm like, dude, I need to be around guys that are in. I'm cool with you having the boats and the jets and all that, but if you don't have an avenue to help me get to passive income and own real estate or whatever that looks like and franchise and all that stuff, which you'll talk about here in a second with my stuff, but if you don't have that, I don't want to follow you because I need to work so that I can pay my mom's house off, so I can give my mom financial independence and retire my mom and also my grandpa. Like I needed enough money and enough time that I can make enough money for myself and make up for what my mom unfortunately wasn't able to save back then. You know, it's her fault. She takes blame for it, but now I got to solve it. It's still a problem. I have to fix it.
Same.
So I ended up going and working with SolarCity. They were the number 8 or 9 installer at the time. There was 1 month. I love it. I'm going to say the exact numbers. There was 1 month that we got them to the number 4 installer. After that, they were between 5 and 6. So we came in, we blew their company up. We were directly working for SolarCity. A direct dealer program with them. Like we were SolarCity. And went in there and just hashed out how to make their systems and operations better. And I just so happened to learn everything at SolarCity. And SolarCity did it very well. And I just paid attention and went in there. We helped them grow. And then after a while, they couldn't necessarily fulfill in Vegas specifically. So my guys, I had to, basically tell them that they weren't going to be able to get paid, or, the jobs were having to get, or were failing inspections. And I had to leave, I had to start my own thing. And after that, I left and started my own company.
What year was that?
2018.
And what'd you call it?
It's called GSD Holdings. So Great Solar Deals. It's hard to be DBA's Great Solar Deals. Yeah. And then from there, I found like a dealer model that SolarCity had. I just basically ripped that off and duplicated it. There was, I forget the guy's name. I think it was, I want to say Jared, but I think it's Jared. But he was like the VP of dealers. And he would just recruit dealers all day long and just do like dealer support with them. He was a dealer sales guy. He would find dealers like me and you and said, hey, come in and use SolarCity as an installer, right? Like anybody can use Freedom or Titan or whoever else or Sunrun as an installer. And that's what he did. And I was like, well, that's genius. Why am I recruiting these individual reps when I can just recruit other guys and help them start their own business? And then come to find out, I couldn't do that. So I said, screw it. I'll just recruit new guys and help them start their own company. So I ended up just helping them white label business in a box, their own company, and started multiple companies from there. So it's,
yep. That's a good look.
the reason why is because, and here's why, is because what I understand is that they're going to leave you one way or the other. So instead of just me giving you everything, sure, I collect a fat override on your company, but instead of me giving you everything and collecting a small override for you to suck for and sandbag 3 deals a month with all your guys for 6 months at a time and then take everything and restart it, I'm now just going to get you in contract for a year and actually figure out whether or not I want to buy out your company or we separate civilly.
Yeah.
Civilly. Or the contract's going to support
it. No, you're right. And there's a value add, I think, too. Like there's a massive value add that we focus on where it's like, I'm going to give you so much that you're not going to want to leave. I'm just going to give you so much that you're going to think multiple. Yep. Like the only people that quit on us right now, realistically,
are not in the industry anymore. They're gone.
They literally go, I got to go drive Uber.
I can do this on my own. And they can't. They don't realize how hard it is. It's honestly, it's depressing, bro. Like it's depressing to think that. I feel bad because I got so, and then Tim Grover yelled at me for this, but I got so emotionally attached to their family.
Right.
And even if I didn't know them individually, met them a few times, whatever, at the parties and stuff like that, but I get so emotionally attached to that dude's daughters and that dude's sons and that girl's, husband and their kids. I got so emotionally attached to I don't see you, Zach. I see your family and your kids and your grandkids that you don't even have yet. And that to me is the motivator. And I got so emotionally attached to that I'm like, if they leave, like it was the most like heart-wrenching thing ever. Cause I'm like, they're not going to make it. And most of the guys that have left, unfortunately, just don't make it. I don't blame them because I was one of them. Cody Schill was like, hey dude, if you leave, you're going to fail. And I was like, no, I won't. No, I'm going to make it. Like, I'm going to make it. Now I failed, but I kept going, right? Like he thought, and he rightfully so, he was my VP at SolarCity. Like, hey, I can't do this. I have to leave. I had to do it on my own. He was like, dude, if you leave on your own, it's way more than you think it is. And it's true. It was, bro, there were so many things I didn't know. I didn't get it. I was clueless. I thought I was like, oh, I'm gonna just start up a solar company, dude. I wasn't tax compliant, dude. It was so bad. Like I should at the time. Luckily, if they would have audited me within 3 months, I would have been in prison. Like I just didn't have things correct. I didn't know what I was doing.
Get in line.
I just thought it was you just sell deals, right? And you don't. It's not that easy. It's not about how many you sell. It's about how many you PTO. So for me, my main thing is PTO, the timeline to PTO. Because if we get timeline to PTO down as quickly as possible, below 63 and a half days on average, I end up having happier clients, which means I'm going to have happier reps because I'm not getting crap calls, right? There's going to be those one-offs. There's going to be those 10, 15, maybe even 20% of clients that are not going to be very happy.
Yeah.
But then that's education on our end as leaders, as sales leaders, to educate our guys. But if I can get my PTO times down, oh, buddy, it's over.
That's what like Lee's whole thing too is like we were talking about this the other day. It's like you can, it's funny because there's always somebody that even wants to recruit the dealer, and Lee will just be like, we all like to flirt, right? We all like to, dance around a little bit, flirt a little bit, whatever. I'll hear you out. Let me hear what you got to say. Sure. 90% of the time you're an idiot and you can't even sell me. So how could I, if you can't close me and I'm closable, I'm a lay down at the end of the day. If you're good at your job,
I love being sold.
Here you go, dude. I'll give you the Amex right now. Sign me up. And if you can't even do that, and then also that's one thing with us, especially Arcadia, like our PTO is like, our reps get paid, and people get paid on time. And like, that's the thing too, that because people come into our organization, they'll be knocking down the street and there'll be some guy working for he who will not be named. And he'll have all of a sudden he's got every deal that he's been paid on the last month in a spreadsheet, just like laminated in his car. Cause who carries that around? Oh, yeah. And he shows it to a rep and the rep calls me and the rep's like, oh, their red line is this. And they get paid that. And I'm like, okay, we can compare all of the accoutrements.
Yeah. They're a 90-cent red line. You're like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you 90?
Yeah. And how many adders are there?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love that thing that David Williamson did recently on all those posts that he said, like, if your base panel is an adder, then it's not a base panel, right? Like, if you have all of this stuff that's and that's cool. You're adding a lot of value, I think, in that, which I appreciate. It's just because it's like, Lee and I have been through it too, especially just like the growth. It's just like, listen, if we just stay put and we have the same vision, then like where I was a year ago, I just was in solar for a month. Lee would go into deals with me and I thought I was a badass sale. Bro, I thought I was a god. My mindset was just, and he would literally let me pitch a homeowner and then go to the homeowner and say, did any of that make any sense? And they would be like, no. And then he would have to come in. I swear to God, it's what happened in the beginning. And he would have to come in and close them for me, which I'm grateful for.
Right.
To where now it's like, I think I'm probably a high level closer in my opinion. Yeah. I'm high level, not the relation that, in the industry, there's a lot of better guys than me, but in our little organization, the amount of deals that I'm doing, I think I am with plenty of opportunity to growth. But now my focus is, okay, how do I become a high level recruiter? How do I become a high level leader? Yeah. What's the next phase of the development? So I can take a step back. And fortunately, having guys like you and Seth and these, Bodie and Casey, these guys have recruited 40,000 plus people. Seth, the stuff that Seth Graney's doing just blows my mind.
That first summer knocking doors was with him. He was in the office. He was a manager. So it's crazy how like all these guys I'm around since I was.
That actually makes perfect sense because I've taught. Yeah. Seth. Yeah.
I randomly knocked into a door in Vegas. And he was coming out of a deal with Vivint Smart Home, and I was like, "Is that?" No, I'm like, "Okay, I see." I'm like, "Is that?" I'm like, "Is that an AMG as well?" I'm like, wait a second. He's got a little bit of a limp, and I'm like, "Big dude, good looking." Oh my God, that's Seth. And I walked down. I'm like, "Seth, what's up, bro?" He's like, "What are you doing, bro?" We chopped it up. He's like, "Bro, you're selling solar? I just sold this guy an alarm system. Come on, walk me into the garage." He was like, "This is Mikey. He's the one that's going to help you out with the solar panel system." Sold the deal. Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell.
Seth's a god.
Yeah.
Bro, he recruits entire organizations.
He's a great leader. I would follow Seth as well.
Oh, bro. I defer to Lee a lot. I'm like, can you hit up Seth real quick on this? Like,
every once in a while I look at his Instagram, I'm like, man, I still wish I would have gone with him.
Yeah. No, I love, but even what they're doing is beyond like you got guys like Brandon who are doing 45 deals in a month, 7 deals in a day.
Yeah.
Legit. It's not bullshit. They're not fudging those numbers because I see them. And they I love the way that Legacy does it because they'll actually screenshot their company shit and say, oh, this is how many were installed. It's funny you bring that up because I watch all their because I take in as much content as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And all of Legacy Notorious's vidcasts, and I don't even work for him. And I tell him that. I'm like, I watch the whole thing every month.
Yep.
And they change their structure too to where it's not sold deals, it's installed.
Yeah.
That's how they count their numbers now.
Yeah.
Which is I like, because that shows the true. Because listen, I could have sold 30 last month, but 10 of them cancel next week. Right? So all this being said, coming back to it, so you started GSD Holdings, you started a little team. Are you selling? Who was your installer?
Titan. Yeah.
And so at that time, Titan was still relatively. I mean, they weren't new, but they were like 5 years in, probably a couple years in, right?
Yeah. David bragged how an 89.4 day sale to install was great. I almost got up and left I was in Arizona. I was like, yeah, I understand. Like you guys got great panels and everything's great, but I would like to see your numbers because this is the issue I have with the other companies that I've talked to. And this is where we're leaving. So if I tell my guys that I can trust these people and they're going to get the job done for us and I lie, I'm going to lose everything again. And I don't want to do that. He said 89.4 days was a sale to install in Vegas. And I was like, oh my God. We got our install times right now down to 19.2 days sale to install for a loan, 29.6 days for a PPA without MPUs and all that type of stuff. Like without like crazy crap.
Yeah.
Like our normal houses minus the outliers, 19.2, 29.6 on PPAs.
It's a lot better.
And less than, on average now, less than 63 days for PTO. But we also do a little couple, I don't want to say pull shenanigans, but like we have our own site surveyor and like our own personal, like an alarm system. Like, hey, we've got a guy coming out and perfect, sweet.
Yep.
We've got the little machine that Sunrun needs if we sell a Sunrun deal.
Yep.
We do all the measurement. I pay an in-house site surveyor. I don't need a 7-day out site survey or a 4-day out site survey. I'll get a site survey done same day or next day. And then we turn everything there. So now at that point, when we have our designs come back, we know as well that our designs are coming back correctly. And we're not having to go through this redesign process. Because that's also an issue. I don't care what company you're with, you're gonna have a design problem. And that's what takes the longest. But if we know what we can actually fit on the house, I can tell that I can now call Thos or somebody at Titan and be like, hey, do me a favor, can you, because he doesn't want look at every job, obviously. But I'm like, hey, do me a favor and pull up one of the jobs for me real quick. Boom, boom. It's like, yeah, so is it possible that we can move a panel this way? He goes, oh, as a matter of fact, yeah, we'll do that. So I don't rely on, I don't even know if you know that or not, but you could get your own site survey. It helps us. It helps our times out because every day, I mean, Vegas is saturated, right? Like Vegas specifically is very saturated, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if I can go from a 40-day sale to install to a 29-day sale to install on a PPA, like, dude, that gives me 10 full days or so of somebody that not knocking on my door. So we had to figure out a way, and then also just to get our guys, paid obviously quicker. That was the main thing ultimately, and then happier customers.
Yeah, that's like always is like take care of the rep, take care of the rep, take care of the rep. And Lee really engraved that in me because I'm a selfish guy and I'm like, I don't give a shit. I want to get my money. And it's like, no, dude, you've got guys, and he's really taught me a lot on that. It's like, no, homie, you've got guys in here that like you don't need to eat, bro. You could not work for however many months and be fine at the amount of money that you're making. He's like, but you've got guys under you that they just started and they need to get paid. Yeah. And I'll speak for myself, but there was times, it's not anymore. Well, I would forget. I'd be so focused, and you're just bringing this to my mind is I'd be so focused on my grind and my shit and my why and my girl and my house and this rental and that to where I'd be like, you get a guy over here that's like, I haven't heard from him in a couple weeks and he's kind of down. And my center manager's like, hey, dude. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. Tell him quit being a little bitch. Yeah. Versus now, because Lee harped it so hard on me, like, no, man, like, give him the attention. Because, dude, how often when we're new and we're struggling do we think, oh, I'm going to call my manager or my boss, my owner, and I'm going to tell him, no, man, we're just going to like, fuck this job, I'm out. Yep. I'm going to go back to serving tables where it's easier. And so like you were just saying, like getting the rep paid and them knowing that they can trust, that the check clears, which I love that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially where we're at. I've never had a wrong check. So, and neither have any of my people. Their check's never been wrong one time. It's never missed. It's never not been paid. It's never been processed ever. So that's a plus too.
Obviously.
So you do GSD Holdings, and then what did you kind of grow that into? What was your experience? Obviously you've shared mostly your experience of the struggle, but your successes, like how many reps did you guys get? What did that kind of look like?
At the highest we had, it was 52 or 3 reps at the most. But we stayed around 25 guys, which was normal for us, but there was always another 20 to 30, even 40 coming in and out of like the onesie twosie guys, the onesie twosie week guy kind of guys. But yeah, we were doing strong. We were, it was a 6.5 average rep. Top reps were selling over 20 deals, 25 deals a month.
Nice.
Which to me at that time was great because it wasn't, again, we're not like this guy Ricardo at Future Home. He sold 43 deals or something like that last month. He's one of the guys that's in our mastermind, and I'm like, dude, I'm not going to sell that. But my guys at least were taking their money, and I would mentor them. They'd take their money, I'd financially educate them, get them in some books, help them invest their money. So now what actually made our guys sell more deals was actually me helping them structure their finances. That's all it was. I just had a little Excel spreadsheet that I would put together for them and show them. It's like the same thing with the customer, right? Emotionally, logically, the customer doesn't need $50 a month in savings. They don't care. That's not ultimately, I mean, some people obviously, but most people are like, it's too much of a headache and too much of a risk for $50 a month. I'm good. But when it's $50 a month, $600 a year, you paying off your mortgage, or you taking your wife out to dinner that you weren't, a free dinner, a free really nice dinner at Guy Savoy or, Hell's Kitchen, a really nice dinner, $300 a head, taking your wife out or taking your kids to Disneyland, helping your homeowners spend their money that they're saving, paying off their prized possession, which is their home, right? Shaving off 3 to 5 years, depending on, what the utility rates do in the future, by them just redirecting the savings and putting that towards principal on their home. The same thing with my guys. If I could figure out my girls, if I could find out how and what motivates them and how to help them spend the money, meaning pay their mom's house off, buy their Aston Martin that they want, have that, that trip to Bali that they want, not have to fly Spirit to, Florida to go to 10X GrowthCon or whatever, to have things that they actually want and help them do that, they end up selling more. Because why? They didn't have an end goal. We're just like aimlessly bouncing off of walls, and guys just lose focus. And then if I kept going back to, hey, the money that you're just taking, a little bit of money, 2% of $1,000 is, a couple of dollars, right? $20 you're putting towards paying your mom's house off. And then we're putting that into, like, for instance, like a real estate investment trust. If they can't buy a house right away, put into a real estate investment trust on the stock market, and they're getting mailbox money every single month. And they're like, I mean, like when they catch that, it's the most like fulfilling thing I think ever. Because I'm like, these guys, I just help them become financially stable, where they're going to know that they can actually reach their goals, which is why a lot of guys stop. Because one, I've noticed 84% of people that are in the door-to-door industry after 5 years leave with basically nothing in their name. And also, most guys quit around March. Why do you think the slowest month in all of solar is March? Because it's tax season, the pressure of tax season. So they didn't even prepare for taxes. They spent all their money because they're coming from W-2. I do the same thing. I don't recruit from other door-to-door companies. I go to restaurants, coffee shops, and all that type of stuff, and I say, hey, would you like an opportunity? And they usually say yes. Or no, they usually say no, but I don't know. I don't even think about the no's, right? They usually say yes. Yeah. In my head, they usually say yes, because the ones that don't want to.
Lee went like 10 for 10 one time. We just boom, 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 boom. And because, he's taught me how to recruit, right? Yeah. And now I'm getting a little bit better at it on my own, but he's always held my hand through because he's been doing it longer. Yeah. And because to me, it was always the money. It's like, how much money are you making? Yep. You're making that much? And I would do the math. And I'd be like, oh, cool. Well, if you come here and you do this, then you can make this much more.
3 months.
And they're like, and Lee's like, and they're like, yeah, I got to think about it. And I'm like, he goes, Zach, it's a fucking homeowner. Yeah. Find out what their hot button is. Yep. And it's rarely ever money. Yep. It's never going to be, it's going to be, I want to retire my mom. I want to buy my dad a car. Yep. I want to be the first one in my family. Yep. I want to be that. Whereas like Zach, because I'm, me, I'm like, fucking money, you know? And he's like, no, bro, like exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Lee's always been like, it's value, bro. It's value, 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 value. You can bring the value, right? And everything you're saying is just ringing. So, because I'm having a bunch of one-on-ones with my guys on Monday and girls, and you're giving me a bunch of value to take in and going, like, I'm checking in right now while you're talking. Like, am I doing this stuff? Am I maximizing the opportunity? And I think we're doing a great job at it, but there's definitely, you're giving me some insight of some more stuff I can do. Be a little bit more intrusive with them, right? Help them more. So I appreciate that value. So you guys would range to 25 to 52 reps, and then
Yeah, we're selling, 60 to 80 deals a month consistently. And the guys, again, they're sending money down to their, countries in, Central South America to help support stuff. Like, to me, like, they are now, I'm just helping them take their money and then go in and invest the rest of it and live on a lower lifestyle so I can teach them how to retire in 5 to 8 years. That's the main thing. So for me, it was how much money at the end of the year did my guys have? Not necessarily how many deals they sold, because I want them to sell deals. But in coaching, I've realized that it's like baseball, right? Like, if you're hitting a 237 average, like, we got to get you to 245 first before we can get you to 300, which is an all-star. It's like we got this like comparison issue that we have in America right now, that if I'm not, I don't know, the guy that's selling 40 deals a month, then I'm nothing. It's like, no, we just have to slowly turn up that thermostat from 4 deals a month to 5 deals a month, from 5 deals a month to 7 deals a month, and then from 7 to 14, because you're going to get referrals now. And then just so on and so forth.
Huh. Wow. Yeah, you're right.
Just do somewhat better.
No, you're right about the numbers. That's crazy. Yeah, well, it's funny. It's funny the way the numbers work. Yeah, I couldn't get past 10, and then now I can't go below 15.
Yep.
And then, yeah, wow, that's funny that you put it like that. That's, yeah. Yeah. And then you just start to sell at a rate that people just want to grab it out of your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. No,
and then you get to turn down clients too. I'm like, dude, I don't want to, like, you can go to whoever else you want.
I did it yesterday.
I don't want to work with them.
I did it yesterday. They were trying to give me all this shit. And I'm just like, hey, man, you know what? I just don't think this is going to, the pullback. Yeah. Wow. That's pretty powerful. So you build up these teams, you start helping these guys. There's more obviously coming from that. But realistically, if we look at the bigger picture, do you still have, so this year, I know some stuff happened for you. So how long until you got bought by Jerry, and then kind of what was that process like?
So it was more of like I wanted to get as close to 3 guys as closely as I possibly could. One of them was Jerry. And I figured I met Jerry through a mastermind, and I was like, man, like, this dude, whenever he stands up and talks, everyone else is like in awe of who he is. And I'm like, why is that? But then it was like, this dude sounds like he's saying some sketchy stuff. And I'm like, there's no way this is true. Right? Because it's almost like, when a billionaire talks about how they can go and leverage the money, and it's like, there's no way that's possible. Like, that's got to be illegal. But in reality, I was thinking like a peasant, a millionaire, instead of thinking like a billionaire. So at the end of the year, last year, is when we actually started talking about it. We started another company together, and then it ended up making more sense for our guys to be purchased, the company to be purchased by him. All of our systems, processes, and reps would go under him now. And then me just do consulting for the company. And then we started a company called Pi Syndicate together. So Pi Syndicate is a wealth strategist company, a wealth management company, that it's a white glove, fully integrated company that we basically help guys become financially independent. But I'm still obviously in the solar industry. It was just synergistic. Like, Jerry did not, because it's competition. It's like, if we help you sell solar, like, and you're in my backyard, like, you're my competition. You shouldn't be doing that. Like, I want you to win, but I can't teach you how to sell solar because you're in my backyard. Especially if I see you in the 89103 zip code. That's my neighborhood. Don't be knocking over there. No, I was kidding. We'd sold a lot of it. You can come over there. It's a good neighborhood, actually. 89103 over here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah, it's a very good. Spring Valley, Las Vegas, Nevada. We sold a lot of deals there. You'll see trucks there every single day because we sell a lot over there. Look on the Titan heat map. It's all Spring Valley. That's us. So the process was fairly simple. It made sense. Our guys didn't lose money. We didn't lose money. It's like anything else. You merge with a company that's doing $152 million a year, and you're doing just under 18, and you end up usually getting better perks and more support and a whole lot more systems.
They're doing 150 million a year.
152.
What company is that?
Solar Solutions. Yeah, installed in, I think it was 42 states, something like that. Yeah.
Are they the installer?
Mm-hmm. As well, yeah. So they use Titan, and a lot of other places they'll use some other smaller install company if they have to, but otherwise they'll install their own deals. Like in California, they don't do any deals in California. It's just like Titan or whoever else, like, the Larson Solar or somebody else.
I've never gone against Solar Solutions.
Yeah.
I've never gone against them.
Yep. And then they own, it's kind of funny. It's like the Warren Buffett model. Like they'll have solar solutions and they'll have 4 or 5 other companies that they'll buy under them. And then they'll pitch the same customer 4 different times and they'll get 4 different quotes and it'll all be them. It's kind of wild. It's genius.
We could talk about that more later.
Yeah.
So
one's super high, one's super low. They end up going with the middle anyways, usually. It's like marketing. Did the package. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I was like, this is genius. I have to do this. Yeah.
So you met Jerry, you realized you wanted to get at the table with him.
Yeah.
I think what I'm hearing too, and correct me if I'm wrong, you saw probably immense value for your people by getting with him, right?
And my clients. So my people as well as my clients, because they had access to other batteries that nobody has access to, or very few people have access to. Like he went and got rights to this one company of all like the states, like an actual off-grid solar a battery system that actually works off-grid. That's meant to be off-grid, but it's also grid tieable. Like it does, it's for grid tied as well, but it's mainly for like cabins. So like the whole, and it actually can power your AC unit without having to like a stop.
I don't believe it.
Yep. Yeah, because you can't. That's why these guys are
I don't
selling.
believe it.
Dude, these guys are selling LG chems and Tesla Powerwalls, and they're stacking them 4 or 5 at a time, and they still can't power the.
Bro, I win that bid every time because they never tell the homeowner the truth.
Never, ever.
And it's like, hey, look, this is really what it says, and this is what it can and can't do. Right, and they're like,
yeah, wait, what?
He sold me that? How? I'm like, yeah, bro, where are you going to put him in the kitchen? Where do you think you can put him at? In the living room?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what's that been like so far with Jerry? Like what has the vision changed at all? Have your goals changed? Like what's that been like being close to him?
So he's running multiple companies. So I'm not going to say it's chaotic. It's a controlled chaos, if you will. But it's been encouraging because I'm like, dude, like if this dude can run like 50 companies, I can do 5 or 10, and I can do multiple. And that's really, again, back to like the whole, like even like with SolarCity and then SolarCity, it was like, I needed to be around guys that were doing way more than me because I didn't not understood. Like at 20 years old, I was like, okay, if I can just do a little bit more than I did at 19, I'll be better. If I can do a little bit more at 22 than I did at 21, I'll be better. And it was just a matter of being around certain people that were able, I don't know how, but able to manage so much more. And I don't have a problem with delegating at all. I'm like, dude, I want to empower you. You're the best. Let's do it. The 80-20 rule. If you can do my job 80% of what I can do, you can have it all. And if you're not at 80, I'll get you to 80, and I'll be okay with the rest of the crap that you can't do. And I'll find a VA to help you with the other 20. But I ultimately, I'm just blown away by what he's doing and what he's been able to accomplish, and his leadership, dude. He's an awesome dude. And obviously I work for him now technically, or I consult for his company, but I like being around him. Like he's a lot like me in 10 years from now.
Yeah, that's a good look. Where's he originally from?
Missouri.
Nice. So that Midwest vibe is probably good for you as well. It's a different
military
mindset.
Yeah, military, all about loyalty, family kind of thing. I'm like, this dude knows what he's talking about. And he had this like weird, like people respected him when he started talking, because people were like, wait, what is this guy talking about? And then he didn't even really, it's funny because he didn't even talk about all that he had. I still don't even know all that he has. And this dude's got like,
it's a good look.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like, wow.
Yeah, I've been following guys like that a long time, and you can always like respect, just like, because you bring a different. It's everything that you're saying is a culmination of experience, right? And so you've brought this experience to real estate, and then real estate experience back to this, and then because I learned this, that's why what I'm hearing and what I respect, and I'm very similar because I'm relating to it, is that you don't ever miss an opportunity, right? And so if an opportunity presents itself, you're gonna try it. And then whether it fails or not, doesn't matter. I'm going to make it work. And then I'm going to get value out of it and then provide value. And because what people don't understand is the way it's just time, right? Like going, okay, even Lee, Lee and I talked about, he's like, listen, you're going to move more into this role. And then and then you're like, but you're not going to know. And then you're in the role and you're like, holy shit, this is a lot. But then you get through it and you're like, okay, I can do it. Yep. And then you see like, oh, I could do okay. And then, like you said, it's like, it's just time. It's just time. Yep. It's just, if you're doing 50 right now, then I've got 10 years to get enough this to get to there. Yep. And so since then, I know that you've been really, really pushing the personal brand a lot. And so you've got, which I love is like, a life on purpose. What is it?
On purpose and for purpose.
On purpose and for purpose, which is really kind of your mantra at the moment, right? And really trying to teach that, which now that I've talked to you, I can really understand everything you got going on Instagram, which I really respect it, especially growing the personal brand, because it's a highly undervalued thing for a lot of people
Yeah.
that they don't know that if you don't have a personal brand in the next couple of years, you're gonna be gone. No
Yeah.
one's gonna know who you are. That's really why I wanted to start this podcast.
Yeah.
You know, I said that to Lee. I'm like, listen, we need some type of something to start our brand,
Yep.
right? And this is a good brand, right?
Yep.
So, and I respect that. And so you've recently released the book, Purposeful Profit, Mastering the Millennial Mindset for Success.
Yeah.
So what's that been like for you? I know books are, situation. So what's it been like?
It's been actually a really good process. Come to find out, Robert Kiyosaki, John C. Maxwell don't even write their own books. They pay people to write them books for them. But yeah, I know, dude. Oh no, this whole thing's rigged. Money's rigged. Books are rigged. Everything's freaking rigged. It's all rigged, bro. I had no clue. I'm like, wow. So you're telling me? So basically, what the company does is they help you. It's like a ghostwriter, but they interview you and they ask just like this. They interview you and they ask you all these questions to make you explain it, and they keep going and keep going and keep going and ask you all the right questions, and then within your own language, it's all recorded, and they just start writing. And then you go back and I go back and I expand on it a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's not how I would say that word or whatever. Because a lot of times, like some words will be like, I don't use that word. So it's been a pretty cool journey. I mean, I did it within about, it was funny on Clubhouse. I'm like, I got this idea, this book that I've been like writing out, and I got to find somebody. I don't know what to do. Like, how do I get it on Amazon? Like, what do I do? I didn't know, but I knew that if I just became resourceful and started asking questions and not be afraid to be embarrassed, be like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Can you help me? Right? Asking for help. That's like a thing that doesn't happen anymore for whatever reason. Because like, yeah, ask for freaking help, dude. And then yeah, just after basically 2 to 3 meetings a week, I did mine very quickly. Went with them. I did like an accelerated package with them. I pay a little bit extra for it. It's funny. Jerry owns the company. Jerry ended up buying the company. He wrote his book through them, and then he ended up buying the company. So he owns a PR company. So yeah, you basically get interviewed for an hour or two a day for up to 12 months. Once, they write one chapter a month, and then basically you put it together and you release it. And then they're like really, really good at getting Amazon bestsellers. I don't know. I don't know a lick about writing a book other than the fact that I've got a lot of really cool concepts and passionate about quite a few things. And this purposeful profit thing was really important to me because people think like, oh, they see me and they're like, oh, Mikey's got all these nice things. And I'm like, dude, I don't like, it's cool and even cliche to talk about, oh, like, oh, I give back. But dude, like, I don't want to knock at 120 degrees just to buy a Ferrari. Like the Ferrari is going to be cool. My next car is a Rolls Royce. Like the Rolls Royce is going to be cool. That's awesome. But that's not what's cool to me. What's cool to me is how much I don't even call it giving. I call it investing. So like I invest in my church to them go do their own thing and finish the cause that we're doing. And then giving, solar panels to churches and orphanages and women's shelters and drug rehabilitation centers. Giving that's why I'm going to knock in the 120 degree heat. I don't really care about the money. The money is just a tool. When you don't have money, you think about money in this like, I have to have it. It's almost like a relationship. Oh, I don't have a relationship. I need to get in one. I need to get in one. I need one. I need it. You can't even be okay with being by yourself, which I understand there's certain times and whatever. But the same thing with money. When we have this like negative, like cliche taboo thing about money. And like, I just wanted to talk about, hey, like if you actually live your life purposely driven towards actually giving back, you will become free and not have to worry about money anymore. And you'll actually be happy like the kids I've seen overseas where they have nothing and they're happy. It's not necessarily all about being happy, right? Because you and I both know there's a lot of crap to be dealt on a day-to-day basis. But hey, purposeful profit. Like, hey, we got an end goal. We know what we're going towards. How do we get there? How do we minimize the mistakes that other people have taught us in the world, and then deliver it and then capitalize on it instead of just making money? Like, it's cool to have a GTR and a Model X and fly private, and yeah, it's cool. See, Delta One. Like, sit down and sleep on a plane. Like, it's cool to have that stuff. It's awesome, bro. Like, dude, I'm just like so beyond grateful, which is definitely unique, apparently. I don't know why people are not just grateful. I don't get mad at people on the road, dude. I don't. I'm just like, dude, like they gotta get somewhere.
It's funny. I've been working with a mentor and she said something to me. What she's been doing for me is she's been getting me into the moment. So tracking your daily, everything about your day, tracking multiple things in your day. And she had me read this book.
Dude, this is my jam. We can jam on this for a while.
I'm gonna hold on. I'm pulling it up right now. So it's
Ruthless Elimination. Hurry.
No, I can't think and do this at the same podcast and thinking. The Happiness Advantage by Sean Aker.
Yes.
So I didn't even know who this guy was, and I'm like, what the? And I'm
That
like,
sounds stupid. Happy. Who wants to be happy?
oh,
I'm a
so let
man.
me just everything you're saying right now. Before I started talking to this woman, 90 days ago, literally 90 days ago, Mikey, I would have been like, you're an idiot.
Yep.
And then literally, and the only reason I was writing goals was Brian Tracy, right? So I read goals and I'm like, oh, I'm a fucking goal writing machine. And then I'm like, I'll do 10 gratitude. But my 10 gratitude's like, you know, God, my mom, but and it's quick little 10. And then it's like, there's no purpose. There's no purpose in my writing.
Sure.
But I'm writing it on pen and paper because that's where the universe hears you, right?
Correct.
So I've got the shtick.
Yep.
But then I go home and I'm not depressed, but I'm just like, and then I'm not waking up every day elated to be up. I'm not like waking up like, and I get it. Listen, you're never going to get up every day and want to go to work or want to live your life. There's going to be days where you're like, I just want to hit the snooze button, not get out of bed, in my experience.
Yeah.
But more often,
I've never felt like that before ever in my life.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah,
but more often, I'm gonna, anyways. So she had me reading this stuff, and then because I'm a content guy. So if you give me a book to read, I'm going to consume everything that person's ever put out within a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And what he started to say was, when you're home, when you get home at night, right? Write 3 things you're grateful for. Just write 3 of them. Write 3 things you're grateful for. And then that way you can stay in the moment. And she's got me staying in the moment because she's dissected myself, who I am and what I can do. And then it's like, how is your perception of yourself? How are you thinking? Have you noticed some adjustments when you change this thing? And then she said, you need to literally realize in your self-reflection, you lose yourself in this place, but you'll lose yourself in the place that you're going. Yeah. Right? Like, I want to own 5 companies. I want to be this. You'll lose yourself in that. The goal's okay, but what you'll never lose yourself in is the process. And I had River on here and he said, divorce the outcome and marry the process. Yeah. So when you're competing with the outside of yourself, you limit your ability to know as you get distracted by the what. Yeah. And I was like, holy shit. Yep. So everything that you're saying is like, yeah, dude, purposeful profit. Yeah. And adding that value, you're really helping me with a lot of stuff right now. So I appreciate it. It's just passionate in that mindset of like, what I'm doing, am I doing it with purpose? Yeah. Or am I just doing it because, and again, I don't necessarily think it's bad to just do it just because, but correct. Once I realize it with purpose, like I'm knocking with a purpose. Yeah. I have to listen. If you're just knocking to knock, I tell it to people all the time. You said it one time. If your why doesn't make you cry, then it's not big enough. Yep. You said that on a recording, and I'm like, my why is like cute and fun, but then my why recently in the last 6 months has gotten so big, awesome, that I'm like, holy shit! And it's not about. For a long time, it was a dollar amount, which would stress me the fuck out. Yeah, yeah. It would literally stress me out. Yep. And now it's so much bigger that it doesn't stress me out anymore. Wow. So now with what you're doing, you got that. Where can you get the book? Is it on Amazon? Yep. No, it's not on Amazon yet, but you can order it through my website. Working with Amazon, it's a whole ordeal to get that. Yeah, but it'll be on Amazon here shortly. What's the website? Let's plug the website. Yeah, it's just MikeyLucas.com. Okay. And they can find you on Instagram at Mikey Lucas. At Mikey Lucas. Right. And then so now for you, I know and this is just stuff I've taken in. Yeah. I know that you've got you've invested in Everbowl. Yep. What other investments do you currently have going on? So I've got there's 30 more franchises that I'm about to invest in. I'm pulling the trigger here within. I think I actually have to do it today. So I got to run after this and get the wire done. But there's another 30 franchises that I'm investing in. That's through Dave Allred's company Axia that I met through a mastermind that Dave actually used to mentor me. I've been working to get Dave on here hardcore. I'll call him for you. Yeah. I'll call him after this. Yeah. Easy. And he would love to, absolutely love to. He's a dude. I would have paid him $100,000 a year to coach me. I mean, I got so much value. It wasn't even funny. Right now I'd pay him $100,000 to coach me. If he coached me 30 minutes a week, I'd pay him $100,000. And I got two times to be with him in a year. I would pay him $100,000 right now. But so there's that. One, I invest in myself a lot, if you couldn't tell. Last year, I think it was like $78,000. This year, I'm on track to break over $100,000 investing in myself, whether that's masterminds or coaching or whatever it looks like. Beautiful. So that one is you got to start investing in yourself. Yes, I own Everbowl. I own 23 franchises of Everbowl. I've got a bunch of different real estate properties, single family, multifamily properties.
all rented out. Most of them are Section 8 housing, so I didn't skip a beat for earnings and rent income during COVID. I've got 2 Airbnbs. I've got a Turo business. I'm running a bunch of cars. I've got a couple more that are in the pipe that I'm negotiating to try to find out a little bit lower pricing on like an i8. I'm going to buy an i8 because those are silly cars, but everyone pays $400 a day to rent them. So there you go. Little plug right there. If you want to buy Turo, go with an i8.
Yeah.
Buy one for $60,000. You can find them online.
Yeah.
And they rent them for $400 a day. And then I mean, cryptocurrencies. Been in crypto for, probably 2016 or 2017.
Nice.
Knew about them in 2012, 2013, but didn't really start putting money into it until then.
Because that's difficult back then.
Yeah,
too,
exactly. And it's like, put it into anyways, it's like, it's like PayPal back in the days. Like, why am I going to put money in anyways? Cryptocurrencies. What else? I got a bunch of money in the stock market. I post a lot of free content online about talking about hey, this is what I'm doing with the stock market. And people
you
just have
add a lot of value on Instagram. That is true.
Yeah. And I'm going to be adding more because I know that people will not get it all at one time anyway. So we're going to continue to try to say the same thing 10 times over in different ways so that it can relate to all people. And then I have a coaching program as well, so people can come and coach. And then I have a wealth strategist company, Pi Syndicate.
Coaching, is it more in the door game or is it?
No, so it's wealth strategist. So I didn't want to be Sam Taggart, Taylor McCarthy, and Danny Pesci. I can teach you how to sell solar. I've done that, obviously. Have tons of people success stories for that and recordings of that, but I didn't want to necessarily do that. My end goal is to become the bank. So guys, have a fund where people can come in and
I know, it's so smart.
Yeah, we're actually in the process of buying a bank right now.
Yeah.
So I want to become the bank. One, I also want to take out GoodLeap. I'm going to compete with GoodLeap. I've never really told people that, but this is the first time I'm telling people that. We're going to be GoodLeap's competition. The reason why is because if they, as a monopoly, can take 30% of our money, then what are we going to do? We can't do anything about it. Where are you going to go? Right? So there you go. It's a lot.
My man. So we're running out of time, but and this has been an explosive episode, and I know people are going to get so much value out of it. So I do want you to comment on one thing though, because we do have a lot of door people that listen to this stuff on route, and I think we've added immense value of what to do on and off the doors as well.
Sure.
Do you have any I just love the value that you can add to a new rep. So you got a new guy, girl, person just starting.
Mm-hmm.
They might be struggling with the doors. They might be thinking about quitting. What's your main right now? If they were listening in on right now, what would you tell them?
One, don't give up. There's definitely, and I know they've heard that tons of times, but don't give up. Treat this like a sport. Even if you're not a sports person, treat this like a sport. Okay. Just because you go to work at your steakhouse and you clock out and you don't ever cook steaks, or, apparently you don't eat at home either. You don't wash your dishes. You don't do anything with work at home. Take this like a sport and go home with the material as well and study it. I mean, I'm not better than anybody else, Zach. I'm not. I just did what my managers told me to do. My managers told me to record myself in the mirror and to practice with people. What do you think I did, bro? That's all I did. I just recorded myself and practiced in the mirror. And then I would record myself on doors, and then I would go home and I would study them. If they want to, they can DM me. I'll give it to you and white label your company on it. I just made a critique sheet. That's what do you do? Because it's we always tell our people, oh yeah, go record the doors. And then they record the doors and they don't know what to do with it, bro. So then I was like, how do I, for instance, with Titan, how do I get my site surveys from 4 days to 2 days? So how do I solve this problem if they don't know what to do to get better? They need to go back like Tony Gwynn, Kobe Bryant, these guys, they'd go back and study film. Study film, bro. You need to study film. You're not even studying. Right? So it's not that, they're not working, they're working, but they don't know how to get better. They don't even know they sound like an idiot on the door. They're scaring people. Hi, how's it going? My name is Mikey Lucas. I'm manager. You want solar? It's like, buddy, relax, slow down. They don't even know. So record yourself. You have a tool, and then we show you how to break down your pitch and make sure you're doing pullbacks and check out the time on door and, talk about the objections and how to overcome them. And dude, if you just did that once a week, dude, I'm not talking 7 days a week.
Right.
I'm just talking 1 day a week.
Right.
That's 52 times a year, more than you did the previous year of you actually being able to say, I wrote down 3 ways to overcome this objection. Just somewhat get better, bro. I'm not the guy that's got to go from 4 deals a month to 50 deals a month. You're going to kill your reps. You're going to kill yourself as well. You're going to burn out. I don't believe in burnout. I don't believe in burnout, bro. I don't. Because why? Because I'm not going from 200 average to 300 average to 400 average. I'm just going from 200 average to 210 average.
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset, dude. So yeah, and it's ultimately at the end of the day, it's people are buying power. They're buying power. Everyone's already buying your product, dude. Like if you're in the solar industry, like they're already buying your product. Like if you're in the roofing industry, the insurance company does not want them to get a new roof. They're greedy. You're like Robin Hood. Go take money from the insurance company and give it back to the people. You're doing them a disservice by not doing that. It's a problem. They're freaking greedy.
Yeah.
And I own a lot of insurance, but like, dude, like it's 90% mental, man. It's 90% mental. But the problem is how do we even like ourselves? We get so down on ourselves. Like I'm not selling 18 deals a month like my owner is. I can't even do 18 doors in a day because I get scared. Like you should be scared. It's a normal thing.
Wow.
Why? Because when you fear, you realize that it's actually important. There's like anxiety there, it's important to you, right? Like your career, your life is important to you. You should feel fear and anxiety. That's okay, but be okay with it.
Wow.
It's a mental thing, man. Like, and I'm the worst when it comes to mental stuff, but my self-mastery journey, I've had to figure out like, why do I want this? And it wasn't for me at the time. It wasn't about money. I just wanted to not die basically and provide. So don't give up, 1, and 2, record your damn pitch. If you record your pitch and go listen to it and break it down with a easy sheet, it's basically, it's what objections did you hear, how to overcome them, what was your pullbacks, what was your takeaways, and 3 things you did well, 1 thing you're going to work on. That's basically it. But they don't have that. So imagine having yourself a little pamphlet. I'm like, at a certain point, like I think I'm going to sell them, but I don't even want to sell them because I'm like, just take it. Like I want to put them in a little booklet so people can have, like, they can see like, wow, over the last, 2 years, I've got tons and tons and tons of ways to become creative. And I'm not a creative person really. I mean, kind of am, but I'm not really.
Yeah.
But like after years and years and years of you writing down your goals, eventually you just come up with one new one, right? They're the same thing for like 3 or 4 or 5 weeks. And all of a sudden you're like, why do I want that? Why do I, it's funny, right? Why do I want to become an umpire again in baseball? Oh, because back then when I was umpiring with my big brother, that was when we were the closest. That means then that I really value my relationship with my brother. So I need to make sure, 1, that I'm having a good relationship with my brother, and 2, I really liked watching competitive baseball. So I'm going to be able to become financially independent so that then I get to go watch or umpire competitive baseball for free, $20 a game, keep the money, right? So, but while you're writing down goals, you just write the same things over and over again, but then sometimes you get a new one. And also, write down your stinking goals. If you don't know how to write down goals, you need to learn that. There's tons of books out there, dude. Like write down goals. When you're going out the hood, I use smell therapy and music therapy. So I listen to the same song almost every single time. It's called "Pump Up the Jam." Pump up the jam, pump it up, and I get jacked up, right? There was a lot of times where it was like started from the bottom. Now I'm here. And like, I was still broke back then, but I'm like, I was at the bottom, and now I'm not at the bottom, but I'm here at the bottom. But Pump Up the Jam is my, it's a routine, right? So I get, I'm like, yeah. Brian Tracy, I love myself. I like my job and I love myself. Like, dude, like we're in this like generation where we love to like hate on ourselves, this whole self-loathing thing. And it just gets hard, right? We just don't like who we are. But guess what? The people that you're knocking on the door, if they're buying power, if they're a homeowner, they are already buying your product. You just get to go give it to them for a little bit less. That's it. And the insurance company, if you're in roofing, they don't want you to get a new roof. They're the sleeping giant. They don't want you to get a new roof.
Yeah, you're going to help them to get the roof.
You're going to help them get a roof. And if they got black widows, well, your kid's not going to have to go to the hospital because of a black widow or scorpion. Or your windows are broken and got air coming in, well, your power bill is going to go down because you got new windows, whatever that is, right? Whether you're selling meat or glass.
Doesn't matter.
Listen,
man, this has been great for me, and I can't even imagine what it's going to be like for everybody else. So I just appreciate you carving out some time. I know you got a couple things you got to go do, so we're going to cut this off. But, again, I'm sure I'll have you back again in a little bit once new things happen. Yeah. But again, Mikey, thank you, man. You've been super supportive of us since we started this. So I just appreciate you coming on, man, and I appreciate all the value you've added, man. So thank you.
Zach, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.